Good morning, guys. It's Russell. It's Monday morning around or about 12:30 a.m. It's the 29th of July 2013. First and foremost, who this video is targeted to. This video is targeted for those of you who have always valued the insight and the opinions and sometimes wisdom that I've attempted to share. Those of you who have never put me on the back burner or asked me to play second place in your life. Those of you who have never complained and always been very much attentive to not just my opinions and not just my perspective and insight, but also my feelings. As always, thank you. I know I don't appreciate you guys as much as I should, or show the appreciation as much as I should, but please know that you are near and dear to my heart, and I appreciate you more than I can communicate. Who this video is not targeted to. Those of you who like to complain about my rambling, or who have communicated over the years on numerous occasions, having difficulty getting through some of my maybe 2-3 paragraph, maybe 4 paragraph long statuses and notes, who really don't seem to value the insight and emotion and wisdom and experience and knowledge and opinions that I try to offer and I try to share with the people around me. It's real funny that the same people who have a problem with attention span when it comes to reading 3 or 4 paragraphs of something meaningful and what I feel is important or relevant have no problem at all vegetating in front of the television for hours at a time, or vegetating in front of whatever video game system or computer or game may be for many hours. Guys, not directed your way. You're not going to be able to handle it per your own words. It's going to be difficult for you to get through, so if I were you, I would quite simply just X off of this video right now. The rest of you, strap in, buckle up, and get ready for a ride. Here we go. Alright, part number 1 we're referring to as the wrong kind of trouble. Let me keep this part as short and sweet and to the point as I possibly can. Very recently, some people who are very closely associated with me have thought it appropriate and wise to poke with a stick this particular lion. Ass clown number 1 and ass clown number 2. That's how we shall refer to them. Out of a show of respect and maturity, I will refrain from using their names or their associations with me. Ass clown number 1 and ass clown number 2. Please keep in mind you do not have the resources to wage battle with me. Please keep in mind that after days and days and days of your harassment that followed on the heels of you publicly demeaning and insulting and disrespecting my daughter in front of every friend she had, publicly disrespecting myself, and publicly disrespecting a woman I care about very dearly, and after numerous attempts to simply ask you to drop it or to at least take it private, you failed to do so. The more and more I tried to be diplomatic and mature with you, the more it just egged you on. That's fine. I want to reference the threats you made. First and foremost, ass clown number 1, the male. Brother, there's a reason I was a well-respected amateur fighter. There's a reason I was a very well-respected professional fighter. There's a reason I was licensed to train fighters. There's a reason I hold titles in mixed martial arts and in boxing. There's a reason I even promoted fight tournaments. And it's not because I'm not equipped to deal with puny little thugs like yourself. Before you continue with these threats of violence, I want you to keep in mind, I am not going to engage, simply as a point of pride and maturity, not going to engage with you in a Facebook war, a text war, a voicemail war, an email war. If you have something you wish to say to me, come to my face and say it. I'm quite easy to find. If you have something you wish to do, if you actually wish to meet those words and those threats with actual actions, and put me in a situation where I have to defend myself, and I can do so lawfully, I'm very easy to find, and very, very enthusiastic to have the opportunity to do so. Alright, also, as far as the public slander, and I'll even go as far as to call what you're doing libel, please keep in mind it's not very expensive and very, very simple for me to go file suit against you. It's also going to be very simple for me to get a judgment, at which time it'll be very simple for me to garnish your wages where you're working for me. It'll also be very simple for me to put a lien on your property, including your cars, which I do not mind doing. Also very simple for me to get a FIFA. I know that's a term you're probably not familiar with, but Google it, FIFA, and show up at your door with the sheriff to take your stuff. Also keep in mind, I investigate people for a living, and I have for a long, long time. I'm a very resourceful person. You really don't want a man like me sticking his nose into your life, because I will know more about you than you ever knew was possible for one person to know about you. And I can make use of that knowledge. Alright, Ask Clown number 1 and Ask Clown number 2, again, very respectfully, maturely asking you to drop the Jerry Springer drama and to please rein in the trailer trash behavior. I do not wish to participate in that kind of behavior, if we can even refer to it as that. And I certainly have more character, more integrity, and more maturity to stoop to your level. You really don't want to keep poking this lion, because at some point this lion will bite you. Part 2 is about priorities, but most importantly it's about people. People and priorities. We have many things in life that demand our attention, demand our energy, and demand our time. Quite often in the pursuit of success, the pursuit of money, the pursuit of fame, we end up getting our priorities all mixed up. I'm going to say this right here and now. When I first began my activities here in Cobb County, I had the best of intents. My intent was not to ever put anyone on the back burner who I professed to love and care about, and who loved me and cared about me. My intention was to help people and to do good. As I sowed the seeds of good Samaritanship and good citizenship, I did begin to slowly reap the fruits of my labor. We started off with emergency response, disaster response, and search and rescue. Evolved to neighborhood watch, which eventually became citizen patrols, which eventually became what some refer to as vigilante activities. At this point, that's probably a correct assessment. It took me years, and it took shedding of blood, sweat, and tears, literally, before I was able to earn the trust, and please listen to that word, earn the trust and the respect of the citizens of my community and of the local government. And of course, once I'd earned that respect and trust, that led to a great deal of success and accolades, and I started seeing the fruits of my labor and reaping the rewards of my labor, and saw the light at the end of the tunnel, the fulfillment of a dream, of an endeavor, of a goal. This was also happening to me professionally. Started applying myself professionally, started having a lot of success and really building a name for myself. And the more I got, the more I wanted. And I made a mistake. I didn't realize I was making this mistake. I never intended to make this mistake. I started putting the people in my life on the back burner. They started playing second place to my endeavors professionally and my personal endeavors in the community. I understand we all have dreams and goals and desires, professionally and personally, and I strongly encourage those. I like driven people. I like people with passion and drive, and they want to succeed and be productive members of society and contributing members of society. What I don't encourage is when we, in the pursuit of this success and productivity, at any given point, we put the people around us on the back burner and make them play second best, or put them in second place behind these endeavors. It's something I was doing for a long time and didn't realize it. I hurt people who did not deserve the hurt. I isolated myself from people who did not deserve to be isolated. I made to feel second best people who had no business playing second best or being treated as second best or second class. I saw the error of my ways, and I found a nice little balance, but I kind of went the opposite way, maybe as a form of self-punishment. I began to let the people around me, the world around me, treat me as second best, and put me in second place, put me on the back burner, and again, it was almost like a point, almost to the point of self-inflicted punishment for the way I'd been. That's been a habit I've actually been in for some years, and that's something I've very recently determined I can no longer allow. I'm all for humility, and I don't like arrogance. I don't like braggarts. But we live in a world where the bad people, the evil people, the twisted people, the demented people, they brag about it. I mean, no one even says a word to them. Yeah, I'm bad. Yeah, I'm a gangster. Yeah, I'm this. Yeah, I'm that. And we praise them for it. And, of course, the people who are actually good people and they are real legitimate heroes and people actually get results, they don't brag and they don't put it out there because they want to be humble and they're trying to set a good example. Unfortunately, that's not getting us anywhere because we're teaching the world that the only thing worth bragging about would be the negatives. So I'm going to sit here before you today. I don't mean to sound arrogant or proud. I'm going to sit here proudly before you today and tell you I am a hero. I have shed my blood to help people. Not because it was my job, and not because I received any compensation in any manner or way, shape, or form, but because it was in my heart to do what I was doing. That's what a hero does. I put myself in danger. I put my life at risk numerous times. I've saved lives. I've helped people who wouldn't have received help if I wouldn't have given it to them. And I'm not ashamed of that. I'm not going to hide any longer behind a mask of false humility simply because I want to be a good person. I am a good person. The acts that judge me by my acts, the things I do. That's what makes me a good person. Not false humility, not my words. It's what I've done, the life I've lived. I'm a good person. I'm a hero. You're damn right, and I'm very much proud. And I'm also going to say this. Again, I strongly encourage the pursuit of success, the pursuit of happiness, but never, ever, ever do it at the price of hurting people who love you and care about you. Never, listen to what I have to say, ever put the people in your life who love you and care about you, and who you profess to love and care about, on the back burner. Never, under any circumstance or at any time, make them second place, make them feel like they're second class or second best. Because when you do that, if you do it long enough, and you do it enough, those people you keep making play second place are going to get tired of second place, and they're just going to choose to play no place in your life. Money is great. Yes, we do need money. Success and dreams and personal goals, they're great, and we need them. But in the end, if you put the people in your life second place and you hurt them repeatedly, hurt people who care about you, and always put you first place, always, all you're going to be left with is that money, those possessions, that career, or the success, because the people are going to go elsewhere. Guys, please keep that in mind. That's part 2. Alright guys, part 3. Part 3 is the return of Maverick. First, let me explain where that little nickname came from. That is not a self-appointed nickname or something I came up with. Some years ago, we had a guy robbing people, an armed robber, considered very armed and dangerous in my community. I actually left my job at the law firm, came home, printed hundreds and hundreds of posters, which I also laminated. Got in touch with my 14 block captains and had them get the word out to everyone on their block, the BOLO, be on lookout for the guy. And one of the Cobb County Police Department's captains actually said, "Hey Russ, don't get involved in this one, man. It's just too dangerous. Leave it alone." And of course, I had to do what I had to do. I got people on the lookout. I instructed them, of course, not to approach the guy, to consider him armed and dangerous. And then I began wallpapering this entire community with poster after poster after poster, and actually looking myself. I was not looking for a confrontation by any means, but I was certainly hoping I could spot the guy, and hoping, with my logic and my train of thought and kind of understanding the criminal mind, that I'd be able to figure out where he was and hopefully provide some useful information. That actually ended up quite well. I actually did spot the guy and did find the guy, did call it into 911, and was actually allowed to be on scene with the police department, and there were about 50 or 60 different units, including the SWAT unit, and I was the only civilian allowed in the area. And I'll never forget the police captain, who will remain unnamed, actually came up to me and he was just laughing. He's like, "You just had to go and get involved anyway, didn't you?" He laughed at me. He's like, "You're just one heck of a maverick." Well, some of the other officers under his command, as they saw me throughout the community in the weeks and months that passed, would kind of jokingly say, "Hey, Maverick." And the nickname kind of stuck, so that's what I started putting on my cards, and that's kind of what I started going by. And it became pretty comical, really, because I do actually have citizens in this community who don't know my actual name and know only that nickname, Maverick. About 8 or 9 months ago, I was looking for something a little different. People loved me for the image. I again use the ridiculous nickname, the Maverick image. They thought that was who I was, and so they loved me when I was him. They loved me when I was out there sweating and bleeding and struggling just to try to do some good in the community. And a lot of people assumed that's just who I was, and it really wasn't. Truth be told, it was just a mask I hid behind. It was kind of my way of dealing with a lot of other things going on in my life. The personality, it almost became, I won't say a multiple personality, I'll say it became a second part of me, and an escape, a refuge. And I just got to the point in my life where I simply wanted to be Russ. And I said, you know, I'm a really good person. I really, really deeply care about people, and I'm very much loyal, and I always treat people with respect, and I always try to do the right thing. And I wonder what would happen if I just took this mask off and stopped parading around like the hero and was simply myself. I thought maybe people would really care, and maybe people would pay even more attention, and I could make an even bigger difference. Uh, Truth be told, I've really poured out my heart and been more honest and more open in the last 8 or 9 months, maybe even a year, than I have in my entire life. And it's sad to say, when I was playing Maverick, people couldn't get enough. They wanted more. Everyone, the politicians, the law enforcement, local government, even members of state government and members of the community, they couldn't get enough. And they would beg for my attention, beg for my time, beg for my energy. They really wanted it. And then when I was just Russ, the caring, goofy, mushy person I really am, people started asking for less. And so I've made a decision. I just feel dissatisfied, and perhaps I retired the whole Maverick persona just a little too early. It's certainly more of a challenge to me physically and mentally now than ever before. When I was younger, it was just a lot easier to cope with it. I can barely walk it sometimes. I have a really bad knee, a bad shoulder, and of course, you know, I'm middle-aged at this point. But I've decided to come out of retirement and to get back on the streets and resume the fight against crime because no one else is going to. We all want to think that our government and the local police can do it all on their own. They really can't. 9 times out of 10, these criminals are caught or these cases are solved because of information provided to local law enforcement or some help rendered to them by local citizenry. You know, information given to law enforcement by local citizenry. And if Russ isn't enough, perhaps Maverick will be. Maybe it's a pathetic search for acceptance. Very well may be. I'll be intellectually honest. It very well may be. Russ seems to play second place, whereas Maverick never did. And therefore, I think it's time to revive that persona. And for all of those in the community and the leaders who seem to have forgotten I was there, or people willing to make me second place or treat me as second best, and who cannot reciprocate the loyalty and the time and the energy and the dedication that I show to them, and the way that I always put the people in my life as the number one priority, no matter what, no matter when, no matter how. This is just kind of my response. I don't know any other way to be. I need acceptance and love just the same as anyone else. And if the only way I can achieve that is by getting back on the streets, so be it. Criminals, I know you thought I was gone. I'm back.